Sister Wives, unraveling the Coyote Pass sale, how the divisive land deal finally closed. For years, the sprawling, undeveloped parcel of land known as Coyote Pass symbolized the Brown family's collective dream on the hit TLC show Sister Wives. It was to be their promised land, a place where Kody Brown and his 4 wives would build a single grand home for their sprawling family to live together forever. However, as the family structure crumbled, the land became a painful monument to broken promises and financial entanglement. The recent confirmation that the property has been officially sold has left fans asking one pressing question: how did the contentious sale of Coyote Pass finally go through? The journey to the sale's completion was a complex legal and emotional process, reflecting the family's dramatic fragmentation. Here's a detailed exploration of how the Coyote Pass chapter was finally closed. Prelude, partition actions and legal necessity. Primary mechanism that forced the sale of Coyote Pass was a legal partition action. This is a court proceeding that allows co-owners of a property who cannot agree on its management or disposition to force a sale. Coyote Pass was not one single lot but 4 separate parcels, deeded in a complicated web of ownership among Kody, Robyn, Janelle, and Christine. Meri was also involved in one parcel initially. Once Christine left the family in 2021, followed by Janelle's separation and Meri's permanent split, the co-ownership became unworkable. With some family members wanting to sell and others potentially wanting to hold on, and with no consensus in sight, a partition action became the only logical, and likely the only legal recourse. This action, often filed by one party against the others, would have given a judge the authority to order the sale of the properties on the open market, with the proceeds being divided among the owners according to their stake. To avoid a public and potentially messy court battle, it is highly probable that the Browns opted for a partition by agreement, where they collectively agreed to list the properties for sale and divide the proceeds without a judge mandating it. The financial motivation: untangling a liable asset. Beyond the interpersonal drama, there was a powerful financial incentive to sell. Property taxes, land loans, and ongoing maintenance costs for raw land are a continuous financial drain. With the family's income stream from the TLC show now supporting separate households instead of one collective pot, these costs became increasingly burdensome. Furthermore, the properties were likely purchased with loans that all parties were jointly liable for. Selling the land was essential to pay off those remaining debts, freeing each individual from financial ties to their former partners. For Janelle and Christine in particular, accessing their share of the equity was crucial for securing their independent futures and purchasing their own homes. The nuts and bolts of the sale process. The actual sale process would have involved several key steps. Hiring a real estate agent. The family or the majority owners would have hired a local real estate agent in Flagstaff, Arizona, familiar with selling large, undeveloped lots. Pricing the parcels. Given the notoriety of the property and its celebrity status, the land likely carried a premium. However, as raw land without utilities like water and sewer already installed, a major point of contention on the show, it also had significant development costs for any potential buyer. The final listing prices would have reflected this balance. Off-market versus public listing. It's possible the properties were sold off-market to a private developer or investor to expedite the process and maintain privacy. However, a public listing would have maximized exposure and potentially driven up the price through competitive bidding. Closing and disbursement. At closing, the proceeds from the sale were used to pay off any remaining mortgages, liens, real estate agent commissions, and closing costs. The remaining profit was then divided according to the deed. For example, if a parcel was owned 50-50 by Kody and Janelle, each would have received half of the net proceeds. The emotional divestment, letting go of the dream. While the legal and financial mechanics are straightforward, the emotional component was profound. The sale of Coyote Pass was the final, tangible admission that the one big family dream was dead. For years, the land was a central plot point on the show, with countless discussions about floor plans, pond locations, and a shared future. For the wives who left, Christine, Janelle, and Meri, selling their shares was an essential step in their emotional and financial liberation. It meant severing the last major physical tie to Kody and the painful history of the family's collapse. For Kody and Robyn, who may have held on to the dream the longest, the sale represents the final acceptance of their new reality as a monogamous couple. Conclusion: a symbolic end to an era. The successful sale of Coyote Pass did not happen through a simple, amicable agreement, but rather through the practical forces of legal necessity and financial prudence. Partition action, whether formally filed or simply used as a threat, provided the framework to dissolve a shared asset that the family was no longer capable of managing together. In the end, the how of the Coyote Pass sale is a story of untangling, legally, financially, and emotionally. The land that was once the embodiment. Sister wives Janelle Brown suffers devastating personal loss with the death of her son Garrison. The sister wives family, already reeling from years of public marital breakdowns and internal strife, is now facing its most profound and heartbreaking tragedy. Janelle Brown, one of Kody Brown's former wives, is mourning the devastating loss of her son Robert Garrison Brown, who died at the age of 25. The news has sent shockwaves through the family and its dedicated fan base, casting a somber shadow over the already complicated narrative of the Brown family. Garrison, known for his dry wit, independent spirit, and memorable moments on the long-running TLC series, was confirmed to have passed away on March 5, 2024. The Flagstaff Police Department responded to a call shortly after 5 a.m. and discovered Garrison deceased in his home in Flagstaff, Arizona. While the official investigation is ongoing, law enforcement has stated that his death appears to be the result of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. A life in the spotlight, remembering Garrison Brown. Garrison grew up in the spotlight as part of the large Brown family, first in Lehi, Utah, then in Las Vegas, and finally in Flagstaff. Viewers watched him evolve from a quiet child into a determined and outspoken young man. He was often portrayed as pragmatic and strong-willed, traits he undoubtedly inherited from his mother, Janelle. His journey into adulthood was a focal point in recent seasons, particularly his desire for independence and his sometimes strained relationship with his father, Kody. A significant storyline involved Garrison and his brother, Gabe, living together and navigating the family's strict COVID-19 rules, which created a painful rift with Kody. Despite the familial tensions, Garrison was depicted as a hard worker who joined the National Guard and was passionate about his career and building his own life. Fans remember him fondly for his love of animals, especially his cats, which he frequently featured on his social media, and his sharp, often hilarious confessional interviews on the show where he did not shy away from critiquing the family drama. A mother's unthinkable grief, Janelle Brown's heartbreak. For Janelle Brown, Garrison's death is an unimaginable loss. Of all the wives, Janelle has often been portrayed as the most pragmatic and resilient, her identity deeply intertwined with her role as a mother to her 6 children. Her bond with her sons, Garrison, Gabe, and Hunter, has been a cornerstone of her storyline, especially as her marriage to Kody disintegrated. In a heartfelt statement on Instagram, Janelle confirmed the tragic news, writing, "Kody and I are deeply saddened to announce the loss of our beautiful boy Robert Garrison Brown. He was a bright spot in the lives of all who knew him. His loss will leave such a big hole in our lives that it takes our breath away. We ask that you please respect our privacy and join us in honoring his memory." The loss is particularly poignant given the recent years of turmoil. Janelle found strength and solidarity with her children after her separation from Kody, making the foundation of her family unit all the more critical. To lose a child in such a sudden and tragic manner is a pain that transcends the televised drama the family is known for. Family and fan outpouring, a community in mourning. The news has prompted an outpouring of grief from the entire Brown family and the sister wives community. Kody Brown. In a brief and emotional statement, Kody said, "He was a wonderful man and a bright light in every room. We will miss him forever." Meri Brown shared a simple, poignant post. "Garrison, you are loved and will be missed." Christine Brown posted, "My heart is with Janelle and her family today. We are all mourning the loss of Garrison, a kind and wonderful brother and son." Robyn Brown, often at odds with Janelle's children in the show's narrative, expressed her deep sorrow, asking for prayers for Janelle and the children. Fans have flooded social media with tributes, using the hashtag RIP Garrison Brown to share their favorite moments of him from the show and express their condolences to the family. Many have also shared resources for suicide prevention, highlighting the importance of mental health awareness in the wake of the tragedy. A tragic turn in the Sister Wives saga. The Sister Wives story has for years been one of familial discord, religious exploration, and the complexities of plural marriage. However, Garrison's passing marks a stark and tragic turning point. It is a real-life loss that overshadows the televised drama, reminding everyone that beyond the cameras and the conflicts, this is a real family navigating an unbearable grief. As the Browns retreat from the public eye to mourn and support one another, the future of the TLC show remains uncertain. What is certain, however, is that Garrison Brown's memory will forever be a part of his family's story. A bright, beloved son and brother whose life was cut heartbreakingly short. If you or someone you know is struggling with thoughts of suicide, please reach out for help. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline can be reached at 988 in the United States and Canada. You are not alone. Sister Wives Kody Brown shaves signature mustache, jokes it's for more romance with Robyn. In a move that has shocked fans of the long-running TLC series Sister Wives, patriarch Kody Brown has shaved off his iconic and long-standing facial hair. The dramatic change, which he revealed on social media, marks the end of an era for the polygamist family, with Kody joking that the new clean-shaven look is all about rekindling a youthful spark with his fourth and legal wife Robyn Brown. The revelation came via an Instagram post that featured a side-by-side photo comparison. The before picture showed Kody with his familiar, neatly trimmed salt-and-pepper mustache and soul patch, a look he has maintained for well over a decade and has become synonymous with his on-screen persona. The after photo, however, presented a starkly different man, clean-shaven, revealing a jawline and upper lip that many fans had never seen. Out with the old, in with the new. Kody captioned the post. Robyn said she wanted to remember what I looked like when we first met. I told her if I shave, we'll have to make out like teenagers again. Deal done. Playful comment, while light-hearted, has ignited a firestorm of reactions from the show's dedicated fanbase. The Brown family has been at the center of intense public scrutiny, particularly over the past few seasons, which have documented the emotional implosion of Kody's relationships with his first three wives, Meri, Janelle, and Christine. His bond with Robyn, however, has consistently been portrayed as the strongest and most stable, even as the larger family structure crumbled. A symbolic gesture amidst family turmoil. For many viewers, Kody's facial hair was more than just a style choice. It was a fixture of his identity throughout the family's most significant milestones, from their initial move from Utah to Las Vegas to the more recent fractures and separations. Its removal is being interpreted by fans and body language experts alike as a highly symbolic act. Facial hair can often serve as a mask or a part of one's public armor, explains Dr. Amanda Stevens, a pop culture psychologist. When a public figure makes such a drastic change, especially one so tied to their brand, it frequently signals a desire for a personal rebirth or a turning of the page. In Kody's case, with three wives having left him, shaving off the old look could be his way of visually solidifying his new reality, a monogamous life with Robyn. It's a non-verbal declaration that the Sister Wives chapter, as it was, is conclusively over. Timing is particularly poignant. The family is still navigating the aftermath of Christine's decisive departure and subsequent happy remarriage, Janelle's separation, and Meri's years-long emotional distance. In this context, Kody's lighthearted post about making out like teenagers with Robyn is seen by some as a pointed message of moving on and prioritizing his life with her. Fan reactions, from shock to skepticism. The online reaction to Kody's new look has been swift and divided. On social media platforms like Twitter and Instagram, comments range from supportive to deeply critical. Supportive fans. Good for him. He looks 10 years younger. Everyone deserves a fresh start and happiness with their spouse, wrote one commenter. Shocked viewers. I didn't even recognize him. This is the biggest plot twist of the season. The mustache was a character in itself, posted another. Skeptical critics. Many fans, however, viewed the act through a more cynical lens. So he shaves for Robyn after years of chaos with the other wives? Just feels like a slap in the face. "This man is fully reinvented for his one and only," one user tweeted, summing up a prevalent sentiment among supporters of the ousted wives. Conversation has also spilled over into memes and GIFs, with users posting side-by-sides of Kody's old and new looks, often accompanied by captions about glow-ups or, conversely, the villain arc being complete. What this means for the future of Sister Wives. As TLC has yet to officially confirm the future of Sister Wives beyond its most recent season, Kody's transformation fuels speculation about the show's direction. The original premise of a man juggling a harmonious life with 4 wives and their children is undeniably defunct. Current narrative revolves around separation, co-parenting, and Kody and Robyn's life as a couple. Producers are likely to seize upon this visual transformation as a powerful metaphor for the new era. Clean-shaven Kody represents the final, undeniable shift away from the plural family he once championed. Whether audiences will continue to follow the story of a monogamous couple remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: the man at the center of it all has visually shed his past, embracing a new chapter that, for now, includes only Robyn and the ability to make out like teenagers. For now, the famous mustache is gone, and with it, perhaps, the last vestige of the old Kody Brown. Meri Brown rails against alleged NDA, claims Kody Brown wanted her to sign a gag order. In the latest and perhaps most explosive revelation to rock the foundation of the Sister Wives family, Meri Brown has publicly accused her former husband, Kody Brown, of presenting her with a non-disclosure agreement, NDA, that she describes as a punitive gag order. The allegation, made during a candid segment on her personal social media and podcast, suggests a calculated effort to silence her from telling her side of the story following their definitive spiritual split. This development adds a new, legalistic layer to the family's already complex and public unraveling, moving beyond emotional heartbreak into the realm of contractual confidentiality and control. The accusation, a gag order in the wake of a breakup. Meri broke her relative silence on the specifics of her post-split interactions with Kody during a recent Q&A session. When asked about the current state of her relationship with her former spouse, she did not hold back. "It's non-existent," Meri stated bluntly. "And you want to know part of the reason why?" After everything was said and done, after he had already emotionally and spiritually left our marriage, he had the audacity to have his lawyer draw up an NDA for me to sign. She went on to characterize the document not as a standard confidentiality agreement but as a personal attack. "He wanted me to sign this gag order. It was all about preventing me from speaking my truth, from talking about our relationship, our marriage, or my experiences in the family. He was fine with the narrative as long as he controlled it. The minute I was free, his first instinct wasn't to wish me well, it was to legally muzzle me." Understanding the NDA, protection or punishment. Non-disclosure agreements are legally binding contracts that prohibit involved parties from sharing confidential information. In the context of a high-profile family like the Browns, whose income is directly tied to their public story, the use of an NDA is not entirely unprecedented. However, the intent and timing are everything. A standard business practice? Proponents, or those sympathetic to Kody's position, might argue that an NDA is a standard tool to protect family privacy, business interests, and the integrity of the TLC show. Could be framed as a way to prevent the public dissemination of private financial details or sensitive personal information that could harm all parties. An act of control? Meri's portrayal frames the NDA as an act of control and isolation. From her perspective, after being sidelined in her marriage for over a decade and finally acknowledging its end, being presented with a legal document felt like the final act of erasure. Signals a deep-seated distrust and an attempt to control the narrative of their relationship long after the relationship itself had expired. Context: a marriage of neglect and a final break. To understand the weight of Meri's accusation, one must recall the history of her relationship with Kody. Their marriage was the first and, for years, the foundation of the plural family. However, it was irrevocably damaged by the catfishing scandal over a decade ago, from which it never recovered. For years, Meri held on to hope for a reconciliation that Kody openly admitted he did not want. Their official separation in early 2023 was less a dramatic event and more a public acknowledgement of a long-standing reality. Throughout this period, Meri has been on a very public journey of self-discovery and independence, moving away from Flagstaff and building her own life and business ventures. Fan and expert reaction: taking sides in a legal battle. The revelation has sparked fierce debate among the sister wives' fanbase and media commentators. Support for Meri: many fans have rallied behind Meri, seeing the alleged NDA as a final straw and proof of Kody's manipulative behavior. Comments on her social media praise her for refusing to be silenced and for having the courage to speak out against what they perceive as a final attempt to control her. Speculation on motives: pop culture analysts suggest this move is indicative of Kody's desire to tightly manage the public narrative as the family collapses. With Christine, Janelle, and Meri all telling their stories, Kody's version of events is being directly challenged, says one entertainment analyst. An NDA would have been a way to stem the tide of negative press coming from his former spouses. The show's future: this allegation also raises questions about the future of sister wives. The family is resorting to legal threats and gag orders. The collaborative spirit required for a reality TV show is completely shattered. Suggests a level of animosity that may be impossible to film around. Conclusion: the power of refusing to be silenced. By publicly refusing to sign the alleged NDA and then speaking about its existence, Meri Brown has done more than just share a piece of personal gossip. She has seized control of her own narrative. This act is the ultimate symbol of her hard-won independence. The allegation paints a picture of a relationship that has deteriorated from a spiritual covenant to a potential legal dispute. It underscores that the end of the Brown family saga is not just about emotional separation but about the dissolution of a brand, a business, and the intense battle over who gets to tell the story. For Meri, her truth is now non-negotiable, and no legal document in her view will ever silence it again.